Hello and welcome back to Out in the Wash. You've reached us on episode 7, a podcast where we talk about all things EastEnders, Emmerdale and Coronation Street. I hope you're well. I hope you've had a good week. Thank you for coming back to us. Before we start, can I please remind you that wherever you're finding this podcast, just to give us a follow and a 5-star, I hope, rating on the app where you're listening, please. That would be great. I'm trying to boost the podcast out to more people, and the more people that share or like the podcast, it really helps. Okay, so this week we're going to be talking, like I said, all things EastEnders, Emmerdale and Coronation Street. Right, let's begin with EastEnders. EastEnders. So the big focus this week was Jasmine. Now, Chrissy at the end of last week had thrown the blame back on Jasmine when Kat had brought her back. So this week starts with Kat going to look for Jasmine. All whilst Mo is back. Lovely to have Mo back. So Chrissy gives Kat a name for the cafe where she thinks Jasmine will be, because, you know, we just all walk back into our old jobs when being away for months. Okay then, fine. So Kat goes off to look for Jasmine at this cafe, and we get like 2 different scenes here. So she finds her, Jasmine kind of pushes her away, and then Kat later goes back and Jasmine agrees to come back. But Jasmine doesn't know that Chrissy is back at the Vic and I have to say, I love the way this is put. Like when Kat says to Sam, I just need you to babysit these 2. Like, these are grown adults. They don't have to be there, but obviously Chrissy wants to see Jasmine kind of pay for what she's done and has to be there to not really provide evidence because she doesn't have it, but to kind of clear her name. So Chrissy and Jake are at the Vic with Sam and Mo, and they're still there. Kat brings her back. Now, it's like Kat completely forgets this week that Anthony's funeral is even happening, because when she leaves the Vic to go find Jasmine, she immediately kind of leaves the Vic and walks out into the procession. And then when she brings Jasmine back, instead of bringing her to the back door, like, I just think you would have led her through the barrel store, not through the main pub where the wake is happening. It's your pub. Your staff have done the spread. Surely you would think, no, everyone's going to be in there. Let's, you know, even the side door by the fruit machines. But no, Jasmine has to be led through everybody. We see her put down her phone. It kind of falls under the buffet table behind Patrick, and off she goes upstairs. Now, it hadn't even occurred to me this week that Anthony's injury had been done by a salt lamp. And the last thing I see every night before I go to sleep is a salt lamp. So that's great. Thanks, EastEnders, for that. Might have to get rid of that. I might have to go down the charity shop, because, yeah, the murder weapons in EastEnders are something else. What with a meat thermometer, a salt lamp, the bust of the Queen Vic. What else have we had? If you think of any more, because my mind just goes blank. Anyway, Jasmine's upstairs, and then she finds that, well, Chrissy just drops in when Kat and Jasmine are there. But then Kat kind of tells her to go away. So that's when Jasmine says, yes, I killed Anthony. It was me. But it was self-defense. The stuff's on my phone. This phone's gone missing. Then Jasmine goes missing. But she goes to find the salt lamp that she's hidden randomly. Obviously the cloud doesn't exist in EastEnders. There's no cloud. Where's the cloud? The cloud's in Jean's head. Bring her back. Get Jean back, apologise. I want a massive banner when Jean comes back saying, I'm sorry, we're sorry, sorry, please. Just right across the square, everybody is sorry. Hope you're okay. But Kat grasses her up. Even though she says, I'm not going to grass you up, things that Jasmine then says later on kind of lead her to realise there's no other way. I can't get Zoe out of prison without doing this. And if it is self-defense, then Jasmine will be okay. It won't be as bad. So, yeah, she rings the police. All the while, Jake and Chrissy are kind of hanging around the square. There's a scene with Chrissy and... Now, Cindy this week, Chrissy and Cindy was a great scene because, oh, you're a what? Oh, you're a Beale. Okay. I mean, those two together would be absolutely glorious. And there was just to jump back on Anthony's funeral, sorry to jump around a bit today, but when Cindy was talking to Patrick about losing their children, that writing was good. That writing was good because there was something in Cindy's face that all of the past few years, I don't know why, they just seemed to fall away. And what you had was the Cindy from the 90s when Stephen, Lucy and Peter were very small, and there was just something there, that glint in her eye that was there. And it was so random as a scene because it had to put Cindy there for her to have later seen something. But it was, I don't know if anybody else picked up on this. But there was just something. She just went back to being the Cindy that was before everything kind of went bad. So yeah, there was that. So Chrissy and Jake are kind of hanging around, and then Jake disappears and he comes back and he proposes to Chrissy. And then they think that the police cars that are turning up are going to be for Chrissy, but they're actually not, as we find out. They're for Jasmine. Jasmine gets arrested. She spends practically the rest of the week, all of the next few days, being interviewed by police, saying that it's all on her phone. But it's funny how everyone's like, there's no phone. What, so you think Jasmine's not got a phone? Because what? There is a phone. Come on. There is a phone. I know they mean there's not. What they mean is there's no video. There's no video. They don't mean there's no phone. Okay? Everyone has a phone. Everyone of Jasmine's age has a phone. So the phone ends up, as we find out, in Max's hands. But then Max tells Cindy that she realises he's got it. He admits he's got it. Cindy goes and nicks it from the very lax security at the B&B. No, what? Okay. Very, very, this is, so lax. But Cindy gets hit, and then she later tells Max that she threw it in a storm drain. Like I said, the cloud doesn't exist within Albert Square, but Cindy hasn't thrown it down a storm drain, and as she's looking at it, the phone rings, and it's Jasmine's brother, Joshua. I think it was. Yeah, Jasmine and Josh. He's ringing, and I'm sure he's seen. We know that Jasmine's story is in the papers. It's on the radio, because for some reason all of Warford were listening to this radio. So he rings, and the last thing we see is Cindy. Is she going to say something? Is she not? She's going to put it down. Yep. Okay, so that's kind of, I suppose, entwined in that is as well, Oscar is trying to both kind of prove Jasmine's innocent, but he's also wrestling with his own feelings. Maybe there's doubt there. And I did wonder, was there doubt when Kat went to the CAF to see Jasmine, at that external CAF away from the square? I feel like doubt's been playing in Kat's mind all along, since Jean, since Chrissy, since sort of Jean said play the long game, like the drip effect, and maybe that's kind of what forced her hand. Zoe's back. We'll see what happens there, because then Zoe's conflated with she's my daughter, but she's also left me to rot in prison, but I left her to have a life without me. That's that. She thought Jasmine was the dead one. She doesn't know where this Josh is, who this Josh is, even if he exists. Who knows? I mean, it could be a damn well lie that no, there's a DNA test. It's fine, isn't there? I don't know. Was there? Maybe. It could all just turn out to be no, it's not a lie, Jane. Come on. Right. Anyway, before I fall deeper and deeper down my rabbit holes, we've also got the side to that Patrick is falling deeper into his grief. And with the whole Jasmine thing, it just gets tougher. It'll be interesting to see who brings him out of that. Will the introduction of Josh help him? Because it's an extra grandchild around. He can be introduced. A boy. He's lost both. How has it been 21 years since Paul as well? I'm not old enough. There's absolutely no way it's been 21 years since Paul Truman died. Side note. Also this week we've got sort of Max and Linda fighting against and fighting for their feelings and everything, and Linda's kind of of the same mind that Lauren warned Max she would be, that she can't take more drama, more heartache. Her addiction, she just can't do it. She's got the kids, she's got to sort of fight her addiction pretty much every day, and Max's lies and his behaviour just won't help that, so she's kind of fighting that. He's saying no, you're wrong, but has to give up at some stage. Interestingly, that I know it's because Gina was there, but he gave those flowers to Gina and was like, happy birthday. And I was like, oh, let's not go here. What if Gina is one of the ones in the bathroom under the bed? Or he wouldn't marry her, but she could be that one. And then what if that meant that the guy choosing Lauren or Oscar was Harry or someone it was Nicola. Like, that's just a thought. Maybe she's the one with the gloves. Maybe it's not, as I initially thought, Ravi, but maybe it's something to do. Maybe that, I don't know. Maybe it's probably just a red herring. That's my theory. Anyway, Ian's still running for council. We are still recycling Beale's Real Deal. What's that? Beale the Real Deal? It just feels like we're going through that again. And that was only, 2019, 2020? The early stages of 2020, when he lost to Hamman. But, and I don't even think that was the first time either. This man, just find a new hobby, Ian. Politics is not it for you. It's just something that they give you as a white middle-aged man. That's what they give you, and it's boring. It's been done, guys. That's how he grabs his power. Once the business is kind of boring, he goes, oh yeah, politics and power. No. EastEnders, we're over this. Like, yeah, that's my thoughts on it, that this has been done. The man was bankrupt. He shouldn't even be able to stand, should he? Like, no. We also find out that George and Nicola are having a girl. They have a low-key gender reveal in Harry's bar, or Harry's barn, because I can never... Harry's barn? Someone please tell me. I could Google it, but I always forget. In Harry's anyway, in the bar. They're having a girl. It's a nice moment. Kojo overfilms because he says, yeah, stop pressing record, but he didn't. So what did he get? Did he get some nice reactions there? I don't know what it is about George's kids, but they always seem to have to be dating their step siblings. We had it with Anna and Bobby, who weren't related by blood, but were kind of related by other people's blood. And now we've got it with Gina and Harry. Like, these girls can't catch a break. Like, what? It's absolutely mad. And, you know, you could say that for most people on the square, that there is some sort of connection between them, as I discussed last week, I think it was. So, yeah. And at that point, Kojo announces that he wants to move out. He wants to gain his independence. He persuades... Harry agrees to move out as well, although Harry's not entirely happy that they're going to be moving into the same flat as before because of the memories, but he will do it for Kojo because that doesn't really seem to affect Kojo. Kojo says, well, I know how long to leave it before the hot tap gets and this, that and the other. Also, Kojo, nice to see you where you've been. So there is that, and he can keep an eye. Do I think lightning will strike twice? Hopefully not. But it'll be interesting to see how EastEnders moves with these two. Will they get into comedy scrapes? Are they the new Gary and Minty? I know I'm moaning about Ian's storylines being recycled, but I do think with those two working in the garage together, there's Gary and Mintiness about them. And the way the flat was reminds me of Gary and Minty's old flat as well, which I think is that now the B&B? Oh, I'm terrible with my EastEnders geography. Anyway, they're going to move in. And George is going to move into the basement of Nicola's. Now, I don't know why Harry and Kojo couldn't have the basement of Nicola's. I know it wouldn't have felt like Harry was really getting away from his mother, but he's not really because he's just across the street kind of thing. And that way, Kojo would have had a separate door to everyone. But, you know, why not? There's room there, surely. And that house is so big. George could have had top floor and not had to sort of interact with Nicola. There's room there. So yeah, but also we see Harry and Gina growing closer. Harry buys her a lovely necklace towards the end of the week, and it's just nice. But you know, this is soap. It's not going to last, is it? Call me cynical. That's what I should have called the podcast. Call me cynical. But yeah, so we've got that. And not as a final note, because I wanted to touch on the randomness of, I forgot that Callum and Johnny was still a thing. Tim, the investor, Johnny's original investor, gets in touch and says he needs Callum to pull a few strings on a known sort of, not an enemy, a competitor of his. He wants some dirt on him, but that if Callum did that, he would probably lose his job if he got caught. But then Johnny argues that you did enough stuff like this for Ben. kind of fall out over it, all whilst Callum is being served his divorce papers from Ben. But like Callum says, look, here's a list of other people that could invest. And if Johnny had not been so desperate about this, and I know he'd lost his job and everything and wanted to get out there, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. Surely, like, I'm not business minded, but I do feel in this respect, why didn't he have multiple investors? And what was the due diligence he did on this investor? Not much by the sounds of it. And then Ben sends someone who in front of Johnny says to Callum, there's a USB at this address he needs getting rid of. Otherwise, Ben's going to do another 10 years in prison. Now, I don't know why that affects Callum so much. They're getting divorced. 10 years. Fine. You stop, like... it should just be like no contact. You only contact Lexi. Why are you contacting me? Like, Callum, come on, just move on. But I wonder what Callum's going to do to get this USB. There's a slight interaction with Kathy. Send Kathy. No one's going to suspect this lady going to get rid of this USB. He's her son. Like, let her deal with it. Let her sort it. Let Phil sort it. Why has it got to be Callum all the time? Like, Ben, you just. And I think this is obviously Ben stirring up trouble because he knows that Callum and Johnny are together and wants to mess things up for them. Like, I feel it's a trap. I honestly feel it's a trap. Still feel like I've missed stuff. Actually, you know, when I said last week I broke it down to 4 different things. EastEnders, you spread your wings a bit this week and gave us a bit more, and it was nice. Do more. Sam staying. That's with a little bit of Lily's persuasion, and it just seemed obvious, like, what, you're going back to Spain where you've got one nice handsome housekeeper or whatever, on what money, how the hell she's employing him, I don't know, because what is she doing, just to have radiotherapy at home in Spain, away from everyone, where you've got this, you bang on and on, like, oh, I wish I was a good mother, then don't go to Spain. And Lily kind of says the same. And when Sam's had a dig at Lily for Stacey abandoning her, and then decides she's abandoning Ricky and Charlie to go back to Spain, it's like, what? Did you not hear yourself? Do you listen when you say these things? And then you're doing the same. And at least Stacey had, like, Lily's blessing, that Lily was like, no, we need to stay. And even when Stacey was begging her to come with her, she's like, no, we need to stay. Like, you go. I'm okay. Got this. It'll be good for you. See you later. So Sam decides at the last minute, fine, I'll stay. Great, because I'm really enjoying having Sam back what's the word? Not hypocritical. As different sides she is. What is that word? I'm going to remember it now. Give me a sec. It was hypocritical, wasn't it? I had to think then. I even stopped recording just for that. As hypocritical as she is, then, but it's nice to have her around. She's a different dynamic. Yeah. I enjoy her interactions with Kat. I enjoy her interactions with Zach, with Phil. I'd like to see more Lily and Ricky. I'd just like to see more. Okay, I'm glad she's staying. And I think that kind of rounds it up for EastEnders. I probably missed things. Please get in touch and tell me what I missed, because I wasn't on top of my notes this week. I really wanted to enjoy watching EastEnders, but there we are. Right, let's move on to Emmerdale. Okay, Emmerdale. So really this week it's Kane versus his cancer versus everyone, as per usual. Things are breaking down on the farm, both emotionally and physically. Tractors are getting flat tyres. The boys, he's forgetting to shop. The boys are hungry, but people are rallying round when he doesn't push them away. Like, Sarah comes and helps, Matty's around, but then Matty's going through his own grief this week, and Kane's forgotten that it's the anniversary of Amy dying. I think a lot about what would have happened if Amy had been around. I think she would have got those boys out of there so fast. Even Isaac, who isn't hers, I think she'd have said, right, Kyle and Isaac, you come and live with me and Matty. Kane would have thought that, but it would have been like, no, we've got them for a bit. Vic's gone to Portugal. But then would everything have happened with Vic if Amy had been there? Like, such a linchpin, and it's so messed up. Like, I was explaining this to someone the other day, how messed up it is when I think about Amy, because her husband was kind of was part brother / stepbrother to her son and his brother, but he's also kind of uncle. Yeah, when you think about Amy and Kane and Matty and how that family works. It was like, that's messed up. But not, nothing bad, nothing particularly illegal. It was just it's just a mess. So Amy being missed, that hit hard. And it's hit hard for the past couple of weeks where I wonder what would have happened. But yeah, Kane's still not telling Moira the full story. Goes to see her a couple of times in prison. I see that she's not in with anyone that we know. But the way it's going at this rate, they might as well have... I don't know why a prison just doesn't open a D-wing, call it the Dingle Wing. Just have them in there, guys. But then Sarah kind of encouraged him, well, let's nick some cars. Let's make some money. Let's nick some cars. It'll be good for you for the Dingle dopamine hit to commit some crimes. That's what you need. You want to feel like the man that you once were. I mean, bless her, but... And she wants that rush before the baby comes, that Dingle part of her that, yeah, she wants to do it. And they end up stealing. I thought he'd just hired it. I didn't think he'd bought it, but Joe's bought a DeLorean because, a DeLorean's perfect for all those potholes and country roads that Emmerdale is covered in. Like, I'm not saying your potholes are as bad as where I live, but they're not going to be great roads. So a DeLorean's just going to get messed up. So if Kane wasn't nicking it, he's probably going to have to fix it at some point a lot. But this is Joe. Just like, me and Lucas watched Back to the Future. I love that film. I'm buying a DeLorean because I have all the money and I want to buy your affection. Nobody's wrong when they say that. That's what he's doing. That's all he knows. That's all he can do. Instead of focusing on the memories that he's making and go, maybe we could go see Back to the Future, the musical. Like, maybe we could do that. No, I'll just buy a DeLorean. I'm bringing the moon. Like, what? So, yeah. So he's still kind of... having to agree from Kane, still having to have kind of help from everyone, but things haven't properly kicked off yet because he's not had the surgery. So how he's going to explain that? And obviously Bear confesses at the beginning of the week that he was the one that killed Ray, so that gives Kane a kind of bit of hope at first that Moira's going to be okay and she won't be charged with Ray's murder, but there are the others. But I just wonder how this is going to play out. Obviously, so to move on then to Bear spends the week being interviewed by police, really. They do allow him out on bail, but in the meantime, while he's being interviewed, he kind of accidentally says they were shouting. It's like, who's they? And it's like, well, why did it just go, the voices in my head? But they say he's fit to stand, but it feels a lot to... And do you feel... And I'll do this as listeners, and I'll put this out there as well. Is it in the public interest that Bear would be charged with the murder of Ray? I know it's fair and a life is not to be taken, but Bear had to be given bail because really he bears no danger to the wider public. He says it was self-defense. I can't believe they don't believe he couldn't drag Ray's body and put it in a van and blah, blah, blah. Like, have you seen Bear? Why do you think he's called Bear? He managed to kill a man with his bare hands, sort of thing. Like, and then he couldn't drag. No, DS Walsh, come on, think about this. Obviously, we know he had help. And Paddy and Dylan start to feel guilty that they did help. I mean, they wanted to do it themselves. They didn't want to drag Bear in to help him, but he did get Ray outside and started to put him in the van. So technically, they just panicked. They froze. And then I didn't actually... So Friday's episode, I was out last night and then I've watched them back and my mum went, you'll love Emmerdale. She's got out this morning, so I don't know what part she thinks I'll love. I suppose the DeLorean bits, but she knows also how much I love Ruby and how much I thought that Ruby would be that help for Bear. And we see this... Bear has a kind of... The cafe's too much for him. There's quite a few people in there. Lewis is being Lewis and he upsets Bear. Obviously doesn't mean to, but Bear and Lewis, I think, will always kind of clash. They're not. But Ruby finds him and uses her own experience from being a killer to say to Bear, you were under his control. It's very similar to her storyline, I guess. You need to get your life back. And then Bear goes back and we just see this. We see Bear again, don't we? Like, he's like, you're having a cup of coffee, love, but not one of your fancy coffees, but that's lovely, it's funny, it's great, it's Bear again. Please bring this Bear back. I hope we see him very soon. I've always enjoyed having him around because I think there are good interactions between him and Claudette. him. And I think as well, like with the Dingle lads, your Kanes, your Aarons and everything, he very much, although he's not a Dingle, his son is like a Dingle, 2-3 times over, so he's kind of been accepted into that fold, and maybe he could be that figure for Kane. I know he's got Liam, he's got Sarah, but it'd be nice to have that down the line as well. And then, like I say, there was that bit in the cafe where Bear went off, and that's because towards the end of the week, just everyone was in the cafe. Matty, Ross, Vinny, Lewis, and Manpreet. Manpreet's just there. She's got no doctoring to do today. She's just hanging out in the cafe with all the lads. Yeah. And obviously there's still some chemistry between her and Ross. I don't know whether that's coming back. And again, Emmerdale, you're so good on picking up these little points as well, like between people going, remember that? We can try that again. And people interact like normal. That's not what we're getting in EastEnders at the minute. The interactions are not normal. There's not a natural interaction to some of them. Like you just need an offcut of a scene, a little opener. And Emmerdale are doing it so well at the moment. They did it as well. Mary and Kim interacting in the pub, talking like normal human beings. That would just happen, okay? And again, I suppose human Kim alert of the week. She's talking to Mary about Graham. Sort of mutual interest, not an interest, but a mutual hate maybe between the two of them, just like two women of their age would be doing. Just, yeah, keep doing it, Emmerdale, because you are nailing it at that. So everyone's in the calf, and they kind of, Vinny and Lewis are kind of, I don't even think Vinny realises when he's kind of flirting or having that, and obviously Lewis kind of doesn't as well. They're very similar, and it's nice to see. And Cammy and Ross kind of click onto this and go, oh, let's make a plan. And I like that Ross has just accepted Vinny for Vinny. Like, I love that. He's like, he's not taking the mick, he's just gets on with it, and very much an example of how people should be. And yeah, so to touch back on Joe and Dawn thinks that she might be pregnant with Joe's baby. Joe gets excited, Dawn not so much, and I think that's absolutely valid. You know, she's been through birth twice. She has 3 children. Evan has only just come out of being seriously ill. Is she ready? Like, I don't think Joe really takes on board that Dawn fights demons every day and has 3 kids and a job that she loves and is doing great at, and now throwing a baby in. It's fantastic for you, Joe, because you can just throw money at that problem. Like, she will always be the default parent. So what would you do? Oh, just buy a DeLorean. Okay, because that screams dad. That screams practical dad to me, is DeLorean. Yeah, great. Graham's kind of hanging around the background. He's told Rona that he loves him. That he loves her, sorry. He doesn't love him. He loves himself. That he loves her. Marlon goes up. And it's nice because Marlon just throws, like, just shouting at him. And later Rona's like, any violence? And he's like, am I dead? No. Normal stuff. Just nice. And she's like, I love you. And that's great. Stay the hell away from that. Let's put that to bed, okay? Graham, find someone else. I don't know who. I think Ruby. Let's mess with Ruby for a bit. I don't know. I think it'd be fun. Caleb's kind of a lot of the time. I like it when he's fired up and let's get going. So yeah, I kind of feel that that's Emmerdale wrapped up and hit. If I've missed anything, please let me know. We had Arthur and Laurel. Interestingly, I'm watching in the afternoons for Classic, and we've just hit the storyline where Ashley and Laurel have found out that the baby they thought was theirs, Daniel, is not theirs, but he's died, and Arthur is possibly theirs. And I'm just waiting for someone in the next few weeks to see when Arthur and Laurel are fighting. I don't know if she's done this already, maybe when she was drinking, to go, I wish I never swapped you back. I'm just waiting for that because I feel that will come up. And also in the afternoons, what was funny this week was Paddy gets done for dangerous driving, I think, or gets a court date, and he's like, oh, this is terrible, this is the end of me. I'm like, Paddy, you know nothing about what's coming, because you're now like wondering if you're equated in murder. Like, this dangerous driving, meh, been there, done that, completed it, mate, nothing. So yeah, so I wonder if anybody else watches and goes and sees that kind of thing, goes, oh, you what, mate, that's absolutely nothing. So yeah, right, finally, Coronation Street. So Coronation Street this week started with a little flash forward to Betsy in a police interview. Not really a formal police interview, but in a police station, being interviewed about finding she's found a body. It's the day of, or the evening of, Carla and Lisa's wedding, which we later find out is going to be the 23rd of April. That's a Thursday, guys. I'm going to come back on that. So she's found a body. Now, she's not screaming, oh my God, it's such and such, like, to me, I was like, she doesn't know them that well. She's more solemn that she's found a body, not about who it is. Again, could be completely barking up the wrong tree here, but she doesn't know this person very well. Over the episode, the flash forward begins to show us that body, Coronation Street want us to believe, is one of 5. Is it Carl, Jodie, Megan, Theo, or Maggie? 5 relatively new characters. So who's not making their probation, basically? I've said, if you're a 7 times or 3 times listener to this podcast, I've been saying for a few weeks, I feel a whodunit on Carl is coming. Do I still feel that way? Absolutely. So, to focus on Carl, this week he tells Ronnie that Debbie's his mum, and kind of that falls out in front of Kevin as well when they go see Debbie in prison. Debbie's in prison she's kind of being protected by Lou in a way. Nice. I like that side of Lou. I'll always like the nice side of people, but it's nice to have that. It's nice to have Lou around. A lot of people, not fans. I am. I find her a kind of the same breath of fresh air that I find with Debbie. Like, it's good. Like, she's not a terrible person. She just had a terrible husband. So she's in there with her, and then we meet, I've forgotten her name, but it is played by another prisoner, being played by Kelly Hollis, who soap fans will know from EastEnders. Not EastEnders. Oh my God, Emmerdale. What the hell? I closed my eyes and went somewhere else then completely. So anyway, I don't know what was with that scene where she was crying into Debbie's shoulder and then like just went off. Like, what? You're as mood throwing as Debbie is. Like, what the I don't know what was going on there. I don't trust it. So anyway, back to Carl. So then Ronnie and Kevin kind of want him to go and speak to the police and say that he did it. So they frog march him down. He claims assault, and Kit's like, all 3 of you sit down. Now, Corrie seemed to mess up here because Kit sat them down and said, I'll get to you when I get to you. And then the next second, we were in the cafe and Carl just appeared. I'm like, oh, so they've let you go, or someone's messed up here. That was weird for me, okay? But they are let go. No charges. We don't really see anything that happens there. And then Carl and Jodie they interact this week. They go to bed. Carl comes down. David comes in and throws him out because David can't be doing with this. But then, yeah. And when Carl goes to see Debbie at the end of the week, says he's going back to Germany. And there's something that he says, and it's lost, my brain is gone. But there was something, a line that Carl said, saying, and I just thought, yeah, that body really could be you. Because of what you just said. I'm going to have to go back and watch it again. The line has lost me. I should do better. This is why I write things down. So yeah, I still think there's definitely a target on Carl's back, but I don't know who will do it. Then there's Maggie. Now, from what we've seen this week, Maggie is making life tough for Lauren. Lauren, as we know, has previous for killing someone. So will Maggie push her so far that she snaps and kills her? Or does something to her? Feels a bit recycled, but there's your possibilities. Then we have Jodie. Now we know Jodie is swimming away, squiggling away more and more into Platt life and sort of making herself out to be this kind of angel. But then she's traumatized as well. Is she putting that on when she jumps, or is that genuinely how she feels and she's a bit messed up and that's why she's playing these games? We still don't know what's on that memory stick. We don't know. And say she's interacting. There's crossover between her and Carl. Do I think it's going to be Jodie? I don't know. I don't know on that one. It would be a shame if they've just brought Jodie in to kill her off. Okay, so Carl and Maggie, yes, possibly. Jodie, don't know. Theo, we know we'd all love it. Will it be Todd that snaps? Will someone finally else see? And we know that Carl's not a Theo fan. Will it be Carl that kills him? Is that what we'll see? Will it be somebody else? Will they see Theo for who he is? we didn't really see much of Theo this week, so the lines weren't really there for me to pick up on about foreshadowing. Or will it be Megan? Now, Megan this week has been, and it's interesting. The other week I was like, oh, she's not as manipulative as I thought she could be. Well, she was to Sam this week, wasn't she? Like, it's new people that she likes to prey on. Once she's got someone, I think she gets bored by them, and then she preys on new people to save her own back. She's getting into Sam's head and saying, you're not clever, you're not stupid, you're a weirdo, you're a freak, whatever. We're not going to stand for that, are we? But also in the flash forward, we also noticed that Megan has changed her hair, which is completely natural. Yeah, people change their hair. Is it a disguise? It's not a great disguise. But is it because she's hiding from something? Has someone found her out? There was a line this week that Ben made a comment about killing anyone who laid a hand on his boy. Is it Ben that does it? Will Maggie cover for him? Sort of thing with that crossover. He finds out about Will and Megan. What's Sam going to do? Is Sam going to shut up about it? Like, we're not doing great on these secret cameras either in Corrie, are we? Like, people are finding them. Or will Sam snap under the pressure? Like, it could be anything. I suppose as a side act to this, we had we had stuff in the cabin this week where Lily took on a paper round but then threw all the papers away and kind of turned into a little bit of a Hope. And then Hope looked the good one until both Jodie and Lily got into her head and said, well, imagine what Rita and Brian are talking, saying behind your back, because they're horrible. And we know that doesn't go down well with Hope. She's got her own insecurities about her father, about what people think of her, and Brian, you did make her out to be a bit thick, you know. I'm kind of with Hope on this, and Hope storms out. I would love to see a new side to her, a new Hope, not a new Hope as in actress, no, but a new Hope as in character, a new side to her. Let's get her in. Let's get more of that, because one day I really could see her running the shop. Like, she'd be brilliant. It'd be such a great thing for Hope. I think she loves a good gossip like the rest of them. She's kind of got that side of her, and she wouldn't stand for no nonsense. So yeah, she would be my pick, and it would be lovely to sort of have her as, you know, as some of the characters, like Fizz, for instance, was around the cafe and the factory. You've got to pull them into a workplace. Interesting, I did speak to someone who's a work coach this week, and I said, so going back to Emmerdale, I said, so what job would you give Dylan? She said, I'll get him on his CSCS card for construction and get him out for that, because I think he did love his depot work and everything like that. But that's what I'd do. For Hope, I think get your qualifications, get that education, but then, you know, do something on the school. Her and Joseph could run that shop. That'd be nice. That'd be cute. The cousins together. You know, I don't think the factory is for her. I think there's too many at the shop, not the shop, the calf. Like, this is her thing. So I hope she comes back within the next week. Talking of the calf, we also have this. We know there's going to be a storyline between Mal and Bernie blowing up. He has become a stalker. He was hanging around her house being the peeping Tom last week, and this week he's like, oh, spend some time with me, blah, blah, blah. And then we've seen in trailers that Kit's like, yeah, I need to arrest him, I need to sort this out, kind of mum. He obviously gets wind of it. What will happen? How mad is this person? Now, I wondered no, because she got out of prison, didn't she? No, I was thinking it was the one that's annoying Debbie in prison is related to him, but he said she was out. But that could be a lie. Yeah, I don't think there was no, there wasn't a wife at all, because we saw him texting on the phone to Roy. I don't think there was ever an Alice. Why have I not realised that before until now? That it's been him. Who is he? Why is he coming to, like, he's got to Bernie? What? Who is he? He's got to be something to her from, like, ages ago. I don't know. There was never an Alice, was there? God's sake, Jane, realise this. I'm so thick sometimes. Side notes, Leanne's back. There was a nice scene that was then ruined by Megan and kind of threatening Sam. But there was this between Eva, Toya and Leanne. I love those scenes. I said it like over a year ago that bringing Eva back would be a good balance for Leanne and Toya. And Leanne's right, like, Toya forgets herself sometimes. I'm sorry, yes, you were brought up on quavers and whatever else she said. Like, what? Stop trying to be something new. I don't even. But then I suppose Nick does it, that he thinks he's above David and perhaps Sarah in terms of status within the Platt family. There's a thesis there, surely, sometimes. Like, David's the only one kind of, I hate to use the words, keeping it real, like on being his true self. Also, David, if you fall for Jodie, I will come for you. I know these people aren't real, please don't come for me. But I would hate to see that. You're kind of on a level with Rona and Emmerdale there that don't touch them. I like the relationship that David and Shona have. It's normal. It's just normal. And now Jodie's trying to ruin it. I'm like, no. Who else have I missed? Oh, there's stuff between we'll finish quite soon. The stuff between Steve and Ben and Tim, like, and I just thought, Tim, you're being a bit Jeff-like here. You're being very controlling over someone taking Steve as a friend. Like, Steve's been there in that street as long as possible. So I wonder if maybe that's going to come to light more when Steve finds out that, I know that they're killing Jim off screen. So Tim will have to step up for his friend there, I think, whereas Ben doesn't really know him. There's an Irish connection there, obviously, but that's about it. Whereas he's Tim's best mate, but Steve can have more than one friend. Like, Tim, you need to let that jealous part of you go, because it's very Jeff-like. Don't do it. Yeah, I feel that that's it. So, on the Thursday wedding. Who gets married on a Thursday? I know you're going to email and go, I do. And then Sally sat there in the Chariot Square Hotel. I was like, I have to pick a hat or whatever. And I'm like, Sally, you'll be working. It's a Thursday. You got a job. Who says you're all coming? Because interestingly enough, like, again, going back to the afternoons that we've just seen, Liam just married Maria and Carla's all like trying to steal Liam away and ruin the wedding. I'm like, if you guys only could see what's happening now. Literally, if they could see me now, literally. It would blow your minds. But yes, Carla and Lisa will get married at the Chariot Square on a Thursday. Why is this bugging me? I don't know. It's so random because days of the week don't exist in Corrie. Like, they all just work on a shift schedule. It's so bizarre. But yeah, there is your Corrie in a nutshell. Yeah. Okay, so for this week's soap swap, it isn't a storyline, but I wondered your thoughts on taking a character. So if you, like we had with Corridell, and put them in another soap. So we'll just pick out, if you took EastEnders, or you took Max Branning out of EastEnders, which other soap would you put him in? I think I would put him in Emmerdale. Take that city boy out of the city and put him in a nice little village and let him wreak havoc in Emmerdale. It'd be like a rat up a drain pipe with Charity, Ruby, possibly Kim. Like, Max Branning and Kim Tate. Yeah, okay. I'm here for that. Who else? I think he'd be a good rival for Kane. I think he could take on that. Ross as well, like Ross versus Max. Actually, Max and Manpreet. Yeah, that would be cool. Anyway, so yes, I would take, because that's what you can do with a character like Max Branning. If you write well for him, you could put, I would put him in Emmerdale. So what are your thoughts on that? What would be your soap swap this week? Not a storyline, but a character. Who would you put elsewhere? Right, I've taken up enough of your time this week. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to tell a friend. Drop us a follow on wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on different socials. It's been lovely to chat to you this week. Tune in again next week for more Out in the Wash.